Thanks for that introduction, banter. And thanks Tommy and the Crush Bar and bartenders and bartenders is, you guys know. Anyways, let's see, this is from Bucky Spulls. I'm going to put you guys in a little mood since it's a break. It is music, little transitions, we're taught, right? So this is in a lemon grove forest, 1976, Southern California. 3 people sitting on a curb, but this comes in later, but you'll just imagine it, right? Okay, got it? Yeah. Because I will, maybe, but. Oh, backwards. My grandpa was a Cuban, I said, Cubano. Came over here somewhere in the early 1900s, for the better life. Met his wife, a white woman, my grandma. She was related to Martha Washington and James Buchanan. The president? It don't get much whiter than that. There's a pair of tennis shoes hanging from their laces on the telephone wires across the street. I was looking at them, but I wasn't thinking about them very much because I was talking. On my other side is my other grandpa, who left Russia about the same time. He came over here when he was 10, no money. All he had was 2 bottles of vodka from the old country, one for the cab driver and one for my great aunt who lived upstate. I said, story goes, the second bottle of vodka had never made it all the way up to my great aunt. Anyways, he somehow ended up in Canada where he met my grandma, and they was married when she was only 15 years old. Him being in his 30s and all. She was half Indian, Shoshone, I think. I sat there and thought for a minute, let all that stuff sink into me and the Julie Finch's head. What about you, I asked her. Mostly Dutch, she said. A little French, but mostly Dutch. The Julie Finch, she scooted closer into me, close enough that our hips was in a touch. The smell of her sweet, like begonias. I could feel the weight of her pretty little head when she leaned into my shoulder. Bunky Spills, the Julie Finch said. What? I said. You got a nice chest, she said, and back. You got a nice back, too. I put my arm around her. We sat there quiet. A hail of laughter rose from over by the party. Sounded drunk. Sounded like a good time. Sounded familiar. The wind got to making them sounds it makes to make sure you knew it was there. It pushed at a little of some of them lemon tree leaves and made them rustle. A bit of some crickets doing their thing, calling that high-pitched, quick-ass song that sounds like the only thing it can sound like. Crickets, legs working and rubbing themselves together a million symphonies. I learned in school about insect and animal songs, how they're a part of animals and insects' sexual rituals. Don't know exactly why it is they have to tell us stuff like that. Don't know why it is I have to learn about all the sexual agendas of crickets and hyenas and whooping cranes. Them crickets, putting out their nightly aphrodisiac sexual calls just about anywhere and everywhere a person is likely to go. Right out there in the open for everybody and their dog to hear. All this singing stuff pornographical. They don't have no shame at all. There just ain't any shame in nature. I wonder what would happen if I started out some kind of mating ritual on the Julie Finch. Some kind of call to get her into my arms. What would happen if I dropped my drawers and fell on the ground in front of her naked and started rubbing my legs together real fast? Fast enough to make a sound. But everybody knows no human on earth has ever been able to accomplish a feat as awesome as that. But I had my harmonica, took it out of my back pocket, chrome and black, Horner Special 20, Kia F, the one my pop gave me, smelt it, smelled like old spit and used harmonica. Hope it still worked, hope it hadn't been knocked out in a fight too. I started playing it, drawing some air in, pushing some air out, vibrating the reeds. Nothing in particular, just some notes breathing. That's pretty, the Julie Finch said. She pulled some of her sweater down to show off some of the bare of her shoulders, leaned back on her arms for support. There wasn't much to the Julie Finch, and so her arms didn't have to be very big to hold up the weight of her her elbows and hands bent backward, and the wires of her wrist pushed out on her skin, hard and taut, sinews to hold up circus tents. Her naked shoulders as smooth and tan as was her legs, a shiny, inviting kind of tan, like she was on a first-name basis with the sun. Looked like her legs wouldn't have a hard time putting out cricket noises at all. I started playing my harmonica faster. A little tune, catchy and quick, like leprechauns running through your mama's underwear drawer. Got some movement out of a couple of Julie Finch's summer toes. Seen when Wayne was on his way back, seen he had the Mexican blanket draped over his shoulders like a serape. The blanket, one of the multicolored ones, wide striped, vibrant, red, yellow, green. I could tell he was hearing my harmonica playing by the way he stopped every few steps and started in on some kind of jig. Some kind of soft, easy, soft shoe. He kicked his feet out and stomped, swayed his hips, his head down, 2 beer cans in one hand and one in his drinking hand. At the end of each little set of moves, he would stop and take a pull off his beer. His balance strained like he was gonna fall over. Then he did a little turn all the way around, and he'd kick up his heels and did his little dance again. He had one of the big shit-eating grins on his face. Him doing his awkward drunken dance, Wayne and his scarecrow's Roomba. When he got close enough, I stopped playing. Me and my harmonica, we started feeling some of the self-conscious. Nobody heard us when we was together much. Most of the time it was just me and it, walking along or sitting by the side of the road, playing some song or another and bye-bye. Me and my harmonica, we had one of those monogamistic relationships. Hey, don't do that, Wayne said. It sounds good. Yeah, Julie Finch said, it does. But I would have felt funny playing anywhere right then. I kept my harmonica out, though, set it on my lap. Wayne had handed the Julie Finch a beer. Wayne's eyes give her a wink. The Julie Finch smiled, her teeth piano key white. Thanks, she said. Wayne pulled the blanket off from around his shoulders and laid it down in the dirt behind him with Julie Finch. She pulled some of it up from under and she sat down again. Wayne pulled another beer out of his back pocket and took a seat on the side of the Julie Finch, sat there on the curb and kicked his legs out and started humming my little leprechaun tune as best as he could remember. The Julie Finch popped open her beer, took a sip of it real ladylike, no slurping or nothing, her knee only a mouse tail away from mine.